Hey guys, today I am with Bobby. Shit, how do you say your last name?
We don't have to cut this out. Davidowitz. It's Bobby
No,
Davidowitz.
wait, I always mess that up. Okay. Hi, this is Nasar with EXP here. Thank you for watching another one of our videos. Today we're going to be speaking with Bobby Davidowitz. I said it right?
Yeah.
Okay, Bobby is one of the agents here at EXP Alliance Group. He is phenomenal. He was born in Puerto Rico, and he has been doing real estate for over 20 years now. He also founded with, I guess, Gil, the Dead Agents Society.
Yep.
Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Gil and I always believe a lot in coaching and developing. I
Mhm.
think this is like the low hanging fruit in the industry. Unfortunately, there's a lot of places in real estate that kind of just throw you in there and it's sink or swim, and there's nobody guiding you. So, when I met Gil about 6 years ago, what I really connected with him on was his passion for developing people.
Mhm.
So, because I had that same passion, I love growing people. I love shifting mindsets. I love doing all these different things. And, as we continue to teach agents through our office, we realize we kind of have a different style. We preach even the people that do training in real estate kind of teach some different things that we teach. And we focus a lot on, kind of shifting mindsets first, because at the end of the day, if you don't shift your mindset, then you're going to learn a bunch of skills, but you won't take the necessary actions because of what you believe about what you're capable of, or what you believe about you, or even the
Mhm.
beliefs you have about the industry in general, right? So we
Yeah.
need to shift those things. So we're kind of thinking of like, what's a cool name for this? Like, what's something that's like sexier than like, real estate training program 101. Um, and so we just kept going back and forth on it, and we came up with Dead Agent Society, kind of a play on a movie called Dead Poet Society, and it had an element of, kind of secret society, kind of like you're part of something different here. Like, we believe some different things. And the
Yeah.
funny part, Nazara, was that, we really didn't know how to explain it right
Mhm.
for a long time. Like we would get into these long conversations about how, because some people would be like, dead agent, well, what does that mean? Does that mean that I'm a dead agent, or
Mhm.
like that? Who's the dead agent? What does that mean? And it took us a while to really explain it. And one day, it must have been one of my crazy shower. I get all my best ideas. I don't know what it is.
I agree.
It's the best. It's like a meditation spot now. So it's just like the water's flowing, and I just said, death of the agent, rise of the real estate entrepreneur.
Mhm.
And when I said that out loud, I was like, yo, I think I got it. Like, I got the one liner. It's the Dead Agent Society stands for the death of the agent and the rise of the real estate
Mhm.
entrepreneur. It's a different way of thinking about the business. It's a different way of thinking about yourself and your role in the business.
Yeah.
You're not here to do transactions. You're here to build a business.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of agents that we really wanted to attract to our company. And,
Mhm.
and we were passionate about working with. And that's kind of the
Mhm.
foundation of how that all started.
Awesome. And I do want to say, when I joined EXP, every agent who joins the Alliance Group goes through the boot camp,
Mhm.
which was a different experience from what I was used to.
Mhm.
And before I came in, Jennifer Encarcion, was like, you're gonna love it. You're gonna drink the Kool-Aid. Gil and Bobby are awesome. And as a person, I'm always a little bit like, okay, whatever, because I'm used to like seeing those YouTube people that are like, you can get $1 million. Let me tell you, the first day of boot camp, I was like, where do I buy this lemonade? And how much lemonade can I drink? It has helped me in my business. I now think of myself as more than a real estate agent, but as a business owner. And for anyone who's thinking about joining Alliance Group or EXP, I say do it. I would not be where I am in my real estate journey if not for wonderful people like Bobby and Gil who share their wisdom.
And what I would say, Nazara, is rather than just do it, just come experience it.
Exactly.
My thing is, you got to see it and feel it to believe it. And
Mhm.
and we're really open about the classes that we do, and
Mhm.
and we just invite people to come through, just come check it out, see if there's an energy you like, see if there's some training you like, and make some new friends as well, because that's really what it's about. What it's about is, I don't expect anybody to believe that we have something special. I expect them to experience it, and if they do, then they'll make a choice that makes sense for them, and so that's the important part, is we have such an open culture that, like, some places will be like, nah, where are you from? Oh no. We're like, we don't care where you're from. Come on in.
Exactly. It's a very diverse office. It's lovely. We like to party. We like to business, and we like to party. So it's always a live atmosphere in the office. Very helpful. But either ways, today we're going to be talking about something I always get questions on whenever someone is looking to buy, or hits me up and says, "Hey, Nasara, I kind of want to get a house. What do I do?" What I notice is that a lot of people will hop right onto Zillow and will start sending properties, and that is actually not the first step. The first step would be getting pre-approved for a loan, because you don't want to fall in love with a house and have us go out there and look, and you're planning on where you're going to put your furniture, and then realize that no one's trying to give you any money. So we're just going to talk. I know you need money in this world. So we're just going to talk about pre-approvals and the different type of loan options that are out there for you all, so that we can help better educate you and get you into the home of your dream. So, Bobby, I guess the first question for our lovely listeners is, what's the difference between a pre-approval and being pre-qualified?
So the main difference is just, it's used interchangeably a lot in real estate, but a pre-qual is basically, you getting on the phone with a loan officer, and they're going to ask you a series of questions, which are important questions. They're the basic questions about, your income, what you have in the bank, your job history, different things like that. And ideally we'll pull your credit, right? So with the things that you've told them, along with your credit, they can make a determination on whether does this look like somebody who can get pre-qualified for a loan, and they will issue you a letter stating that they feel that you would be pre-qualified for a loan. Pre-approval is a little bit more. So like I said, we, as even in the real estate game, we say pre-approval or pre-qualification. An actual approval would be after you actually send in your documentation. So I verify that everything you told me about your income is correct, that everything you told me about your employment history is correct. And what's funny is, a lot of people forget, like they think they leave stuff out, and they think something's fine, and then something will come up, so financing is one of those things you want to get right. And so yeah, that's the main difference there. And I'll let you continue asking questions, but I can go on for a long time about the importance of financing.
And I did want to touch on something that you said earlier before. One thing that a lot of people always ask is, okay, well, what do I need? First of all, before even going to that, when you're looking to buy, I always recommend get in touch with a realtor. First of all, it doesn't cost you anything. The seller pays. So that's the first hurdle. Don't think about it. Contact us, because we have a wealth of resources available to you. So instead of having to go through Google and see, okay, what lender should I go through, Bank of America or whatever, we have people who we work with, who we trust with our business, who will be able to pre-qualify you and to walk through everything. We like to work with local lenders and smaller lenders, because they are more thorough, and it doesn't get to the point where you're ready to close and something happens, because you don't want that pre-approval and then not be able to get the financing you need afterwards. So that being said, when you're looking into getting pre-approved, they're going to ask you for a few documents. One of those are your W-2s for the last 2 years, your bank accounts, or your bank statements, I should say, your employment history for the last 2 years as well. Am I missing anything, Bobby?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for your statements, obviously they're looking to see what you have in reserve.
Mhm.
Usually for they want to see a couple months of bank statements. So
Mhm.
that's important to say, in other words, so a lot of times what happens is, somebody will, let's say 2 months ago didn't have money and a lot of money in their account, but
Yeah.
then, this particular month, some big deposit comes in.
Mhm.
And just so you know, just a pro tip out there, banks will ask where it came from. So it's not enough to have the money, right? Because, what they're worried about, Nazar, is, hey, did you just borrow that from Jimmy? Because
Yeah.
if you did, that means you have to pay Jimmy back, which
Yeah.
means that you're not just paying me, the bank, back, you owe Jimmy too.
Exactly.
And you might be more scared of Jimmy than you are the bank, right? So any deposits have to be sourced, and they usually look for about 2 months. So when
Mhm.
somebody says, when you hear from a lender, hey, you should have those funds
Mhm.
seasoned for 2 months or 3 months,
Mhm.
it means that they want that money in your account for that amount of time, or they'll question it. Hey, or I mean, obviously, if it's a typical paycheck that gets
Mhm.
directly deposited, they don't know exactly where that came from. But
Mhm.
hey, did $15,000 just show up into your account? And if you don't have any way to claim it, even if it's yours, even if you kept that money in your mattress,
Mhm.
pro tip, you probably should put it in 4 months before you
Yeah.
um so
Pro
those are
tip,
the
don't keep your money under your mattress, people.
that's another pro tip. That's another pro tip. But yeah, those are the kind of things that they'll ask you for. But I'll
Mhm.
say even before that, I think that it's not that people don't necessarily know that they have to go through this process. I think that they
Mhm.
need to make a shift in their mindset as to why they would even
Mhm.
go to the pre-qualification. And we know very logically that, hey, obviously I have to have the money to buy a place, but
Mhm.
it's very important for a lot of reasons. And I
Mhm.
think people should understand that, you're living in a time right now where
Mhm.
the cost of borrowing money
Mhm.
is the lowest of all time. And
Yes.
and I don't know if I could stress that enough. All time. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm talking like dinosaurs roamed the earth. There was not interest rates like this. Okay. So what does that mean for a buyer out there? So if you're out here listening to this, guys, here's what it means. It means that if you tried getting a home last year, and let's say you were looking for a home and it was 150,000, and you're like,
Mhm.
man, I can't find a thing for $150,000. But guess what? With
Mhm.
interest rates as low, and it might not be a year ago because interest were pretty low, but let's say it's 5 years ago, whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
your buying power with interest rates in the twos has
Mhm.
increased 20, 30, 40, sometimes $50,000. So now you could, that for that same payment, now you can afford a $200,000 home, right? So people
Exactly.
have to get those pictures in their minds to understand, like, oh, I know what this means. Because if you just tell people, hey,
Mhm.
interest rates are really low, and they're like, I don't know what it means. That means you can buy way more a house for the payment, or
Exactly.
buy the house you always wanted and actually pay the same amount that you might be paying for rent right now, right? So that it's very important that you understand the importance of, borrowing money just in this stage of time. But the main thing being, like you said, you don't want to go into this process without
Mhm.
having that, because you got to know where you are. Some people are actually scared to find out. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like getting your drug test or something, what's going on. You want to test it, just in case it don't come out right.
Yeah.
But the reality is you got to know where you're at to know where you're going. So
Exactly.
even if they tell you, hey, look, right now, because of your work history, your credit score,
Mhm.
we can't do something at this moment, they will tell you what's next. Okay, well, here's how you get there. And we'll tell you that as well. Like,
Mhm.
Nazara, you work with people, you're going to get them with the right people to get their credit up. You're going to
Exactly.
get them with the right lenders that are going to tell them, hey, if you pay down that credit card just a little bit here and
Mhm.
pay this a little bit here, and make these few extra payments and get me this documentation, hey, you know what? 3 months from now, you're going to be ready. But
Exactly.
if we never found out, how can we get
Mhm.
ready? You know?
Exactly. And I wanted to add, we are going to be doing a something special next year along that line. It will be called Dare to Buy 2021 because, like what you said, I know this is a surprise. What you
Yeah.
said, um, a lot of people. are scared to know where they are. I know sometimes, looking at your credit score could be like, oh, I don't want to see this, better left undone. But if you do want to buy, especially with these low interest rates that we're seeing, call me. My information will be in the description. And like Bobby says, we're going to pair you with wonderful lenders, credit repair companies, anyone you need, any resource, because you may not be able to buy right now, but if you are working with professionals that care and can give you guys a roadmap to success, you may be able to afford buying in 3 months or 6 months. So if 2021 is going to be your year to buy a home, contact me. I'll have more information on my website. But yeah, short little plug for that.
I love your plugs. They're great.
Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the differences with loans. So a lot of the people I work with right now are first-time home buyers. So I always suggest an FHA loan, but there are a number of different ones. So there's FHA loans, there are conventional loans, USDA loans, and VA loans. So guess we'll just talk about the different type of loans and the qualifications and everything that you need.
So, FHA is a great program, and one of the, lower cost, not only in the actual loan, but the down payment, right? So a lot of people do FHA loans because you only have to put 3.5% down. Right. So, on 100, to keep numbers easy, $100,000, $3,500. And it's like, wow, that's not a lot. And that's one of the big misconceptions that people still have, which is crazy because you think, sometimes when you're in real estate, you think everybody knows what's out there, right?
Yeah.
You think you have to put like 20% down because your parents told you that's what you had to do, right? I was like, oh, actually very, very few people do that, put 20% down. I mean, if you can do it, that's great. You'll avoid mortgage insurance, which is another savings, but most people don't have 20% sitting around, right? So they're looking for the best way to get into the home. So, so the FHAs is a great loan program to be a part of. You're going to get the low rates. You're going to get a low down payment. They do tend to scrutinize the property a little bit harder. A lot of people, like, for instance, if you're buying a home that needs a lot of repairs, FHA might be a little bit more of a challenge. But as long as the property's solid, we can get that, get through that. We can also ask the seller to fix some things if necessary. So I wouldn't be scared about it. I'm just letting you know that they do take a look at certain things that they might not look at in a conventional loan. Conventional loan, like I just mentioned, might be a little bit smoother with certain things like the property, and they usually make you put a little bit more down. Now, everything I'm saying you can take with a grain of salt, because the reality is that guidelines change literally on a daily basis in the mortgage industry, and that's what I always say is it depends when you ask the loan officer, because it's like, during COVID, things changed again. Some lenders tightened up a little bit, and obviously when the market crashed, back in 2008, those old school loans, you don't even see them anymore, right? They just got rid of programs altogether, and it was really tight for a while. And now they've opened back up a little bit, but conventional is also a great option. Like I said, you can get away with usually about 5% down, but I've seen some that do 3%. I've seen some programs. We work with Home First Lending, who's one of the top Zillow rated lenders in Central Florida, and they have programs that they've talked to me about that are as little as 1.5% down. So back in the day, it was FHA was the only option for something that low, and now you've got options where you can put that much down. VA, which is a veteran loan, veteran administration loan, is just an incredible option for veterans. Like, to me, there is no other option if you're a veteran, right? Because they literally lend you 100%. So when I tell you that you do not have to put anything down, we mean it. And in some cases, if your realtor like Nazar was able to negotiate some closing costs for you, you might not have to put anything in there, right? Just put your deposit down, and sometimes you get your deposit back at closing. So it's an incredible loan. low cost. They really want to
Mhm.
protect veterans. I'm almost certain there's no mortgage insurance on that either.
Mhm.
So you're getting 100% loan at the lowest cost that there is.
Mhm.
Really, like I said, if you're a veteran out there and you haven't taken advantage of this, my father's a veteran.
Mhm.
I've worked with him on several of his VA loans, and
Yeah.
every time we do it, I'm like, God, it's such a great loan, like such a great loan. Um,
Yes.
and then you've got your USDA loans. Now, USDA
Mhm.
loans in general tend to be location specific. So
Mhm.
if you're out there in kind of the edges of the city, and by the way, there's a map. If you go online and put, USDA map, USDA loan map, you're going to get a website and you're going to see, and you can plug in the address of where you're looking at,
Mhm.
and you'll be able to know whether that area has been kind of sectioned off for
Yes.
USDA loans, and they tend to be for more rural areas. But
Mhm.
as the city creeps out closer to those rural areas, there's some
Mhm.
places in there that you're like, well, this is not really rural, but they're still giving these
Exactly.
loans, right? And the exciting part about those loans are also 100%. So,
Yeah.
if you're in an area that, there's areas of, the St. Clouds, the
Mhm.
Deltonas, and the DeLands, and,
Mhm.
the
Mineola as
Claremont,
well.
those kind of areas that used to
Mhm.
be like country that are not that country. There's still areas out there
Yeah.
that are USDA. So those are very important as well.
Exactly. And especially for people who like that more quiet lifestyle, like you're not going to be out there in the wilderness. Like Bobby says,
Right.
they're being developed, but there are wonderful opportunities out there too. Now let's switch the conversation a little bit more to everyone's other favorite subject, which is down payment assistance. So Bobby, what would you like to add about down payment assistance?
You know, down payment assistance
Mhm.
is. I think one thing is some people get really excited about it.
Mhm.
It's out there. There are several
Mhm.
programs. But there are hoops to jump through. So I think that
Mhm.
the main thing people got to understand is, number one, not everybody qualifies because it's
Mhm.
really meant for the people that really need it, right? So
Yeah.
if you're over certain income levels and things like
Mhm.
that, you're going to get kicked out of those programs. So
Yeah.
I want to make sure that people understand, like, research your programs. They'll have different
Mhm.
qualifications, and then make sure that you fit in those programs. Now, some of those
Mhm.
programs will have you actually go through like a first time home buyer type class. And so there are some
Yeah.
hoops to jump through when it comes to that. Other things to know about it too is whether or not, whatever they're giving you is actually,
Mhm.
you're actually supposed to pay it back.
Yes.
There are some programs where you do pay it back, or
Mhm.
you pay it back only if you sell before a certain period of time, right?
Yeah.
So as long as you stay in the home for a certain amount of time, they might forgive you the 7,500 that
Yeah.
they gave you. But every every program is a little bit different, and going back to the
Mhm.
lenders, these are the things that a lender can help you with, right?
Exactly.
A lender can say, hey, I work with these programs, and so if that's
Mhm.
something you definitely want to do, for instance, like I said, Home First Lending works with down
Yeah.
payment systems, so that they do, then you got to make sure you get with a lender that knows how to work with them, because it really
Mhm.
is a kind of partnership process with the down payment people and the lender to work together to make your deal happen. Besides that, I mean, look, it's a great program,
Mhm.
but sometimes you'll find out that there's a lot more hoops you want to jump through, and you realize,
Mhm.
hey, there might just be a program out there that's better, like 100% loan, right?
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
I'm like, did you know? I mean, you might be out there, trying to do everything you can to try to qualify for down payment assistance, and not realize that you're a veteran and you can get 100% loan, or that, you're
Exactly.
out in a USDA area, you get 100% loan, and, you don't even need a down payment. So I think you got to research all angles, and not, just kind of get excited and say, oh, somebody's just giving out free money. If that's the case, you tell me.
Exactly. Tell me too. Well, thank you, Bobby, so much. Do you have anything else you'd like to add to our wonderful listeners?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you're on the fence out there
Mhm.
about what to do, let me just talk to renters in particular.
Mhm.
Um, if you're here in Orlando, you've seen your rent go up, and you think, man, rent's getting high. Well, it's not just high; it's one of the highest in the country, highest increases in the country over the last 5 years.
Mhm.
And it's been increasing like that probably for about 30 years. So, you know, it's not a good position to be in. Now, I understand that there are certain circumstances if you're a renter that you just can't avoid. Like, you know, you have to move in a day and you have to find a place and, you know, and whatever, or, you know, you can, you know, only afford, you know, $600 a month. So you're having to live in a garage apartment. You know, there's just some places, some situations. But if you're one of those people out there that is, you know, paying $1,200, $1,300, $1,500, $1,700. Man, I see, I'm in downtown Orlando right now. I'm looking right outside my window at these condos that are renting for, you know, $2,500. I'm like, you really got to do the math, talk to that lender and figure out what could I get for this amount of money with these interest rates. Was it, we running out of time?
Yeah.
You're like, kick the spoil off. No, but you really got to do the numbers and make it real for yourself, because here's the reality. If you're renting right now, you are paying a mortgage. It just isn't your mortgage.
Exactly.
You're paying the landlord's mortgage, and that means you're paying off something they own. So on a base level, if you can pay the same amount and own your own asset and pay your own home off, you are in way better position. Matter of fact, the statistics say that people who own their home versus rent have 37 times more net worth than somebody who's renting. So what I'm telling you is, if you're out there, you at least need to take a step. You need to talk to somebody like Nazara. You need to tell her to get you with that lender, and let's find out what you can do. Because even if you don't make a killing on buying, see, this is the misconception is, I'm just giving you on a base level, like, you might not get the deal of the century on the home where, like, you know, it's going to be like 2006 and you're going to make 50 grand on the home in 6 months. That's not what it's about. Right now, you're making nothing. Right now, you're paying somebody else's asset down. So if you can at least match the same amount of rent, or even pay an extra $100, $200 a month to own your own property, is absolutely worth it. Because guess what? You're totally out of control if you're renting. You know, when your lease is up, who controls your rent? Your landlord does. And guess what? Your payment gonna go up. Exactly. Your payment's going up and you have zero control of that. Why not get into a fixed 30-year mortgage where your payment will never go up and you control your own destiny? So that's my final thought, because it doesn't make any sense when interest rates are this low for you to continue to rent.
Exactly. Especially in East Orlando, rent is ridiculous, and every single year it raises. So it doesn't matter if you were there for 5 years, you are going to end up paying more and more and more. So definitely, if you are looking to become more than a renter and to own your own home, contact me. I will be more than happy to help. Either ways, thank you so much, Bobby, for blessing us with your presence. Anything you want to plug, or
That's it. It's all about you. I appreciate you having me on. And I look forward to next time.
Thank you. Have a lovely day.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.